Hey, Chris, when we last talked to you, we didn't know what Mike Evans' situation would be. Have you had a chance to see him? It's certainly the news seems much better than we thought it would be. And just how's he doing?
Yeah, I mean, just like you were saying, hopefully, the news is seeming pretty good. Obviously, we hope that we can have him out there, and I'm sure he's going to do whatever he can to be out there. Just have to see how the week goes. But I think either way, whoever's out there, we got to be ready to go.
And this will be your first playoffs. I'm wondering, you've got a lot of guys that have playoff experience. Have you sought out or anybody giving you some advice about what it's like or if it's different or how to approach it?
No, not quite yet. I plan on talking to a couple of guys, in the locker room that have had playoff experience and just kind of like picking their brain a little bit. But, I mean, from what I can tell, it really just seems like the intensity cranks up a little bit. You just got to be on your P's and Q's a little bit more. Obviously, it's when I go home, so we got to bring it.
Thanks.
Next up is going to be Greg Allman.
Hey, Chris, I'd want to ask you about this Washington defense. It's probably their strongest part of their team is the defense and the pressure they put on quarterbacks. Just want to ask you what stood out to you and what you think the most important thing is to do Saturday neutralizing that.
Yeah, like you said, they have really good defense, and they're playing really, really good right now. They have really talented front seven, and they really get after their quarterback. So I think as an offense, it's going to be our job to really make sure that we control them. Make sure that we're on our P's and Q's with protection. Make sure our routes are on point. Because if you allow them to get after your quarterback and really disrupt the game, they'll really do that.
Chris, you're a Delaware guy. You're kind of right in the middle between Philadelphia and Washington. Were you more a Philly guy growing up, or which was the NFC East team for you there?
I think when I was in middle school, I was more of a Philly guy. When I grew up there, my family's from Philly, so it was like that natural kind of affiliation.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go over to Jenna Lane.
Hey, Chris, I asked you about your performance in the game and crossing the 100-yard threshold and getting 2 touchdowns, but so did your teammate Antonio Brown. Can you just speak to his performance and the way that he was able to step up in Mike Evans' absence?
Yeah, it was seeing AB go out there and perform the way he did. It was not only impressive, but it was something that we as players kind of expect from a guy like him. He's done it for so long and been not only talented, but he's also been very productive. And to see him really get his feet back underneath him, like as the season's progressed and get more and more comfortable in our offense and playing again, it's been really awesome to see.
You were asked already about reaching out to some of your teammates about their experiences in the playoffs. He's a guy that's played in some really, really big games himself and definitely produced. How can you lean on him, especially if Mike can't go, although things sound very optimistic. But, how much can you guys lean on him as a group to kind of help you get ready, mentally and physically for, like you just said, things seem to kind of intensify more in the postseason?
I mean, I think it's really just kind of picking his brain throughout the week. Like you say, he's been there and he's performed really well in those scenarios. So just doing our best to kind of pick his knowledge and get a better feel for it. But, like I said, at the end of the day, when we go out there, we got to be ready to play, and there's not much that someone can really tell you to really prepare you for it. You got to go out there and bring your A game every single time you're out there.
Thank you.
Go over to James Palmer.
Chris, a lot of people talk about Tom in the playoffs is kind of like Jordan in the finals. Have you seen an added focus this week, or is that something you see when maybe on Saturday when you guys hit the field? Is there any change? Because people talk about it a lot.
I guess we'll see as the week kind of progresses. One thing about Tom, throughout the entire year, he's been the same guy, every single day. And that's something that you really respect is, no matter if it's a preseason game or regular season game or playoff game, he's going to come with the same intensity, same focus, and when it comes to game day, he's going to be locked in. He's going to be that guy that we all know and love. So, I don't expect to see anything different just because his attention to detail was so, high. But I'm looking forward to kind of getting out there and rolling with him.
I want to kind of get a gauge on Mike's intensity. Let's just run a scenario here. He thinks he's ready to play, but somebody has to tell him he can't go on Saturday. Do you fear for that person's safety that has to tell him that he wouldn't be able to go?
That's hilarious. I would not want to be the one telling Mike that he can't go. You know, I think it's going to take some real convincing to convince him of that. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, Mike's going to do, you know, what's best for him. You know, I think if he feels like he can go, I think he's going to really try his best to go out there. But like I said, at the end of the day, man, whoever's out there, we got to be ready to roll.
Thanks, Chris.
We have time for a few more. We'll go over to Joey Knight.
Chris, you talked about Antonio before. It looks like he's playing faster lately. Do you think that's just a matter of him getting more comfortable in the offense, or just physically, you know, getting more up to speed after such a long layoff?
Honestly, I would say it's a little bit of both. You know, I think, you know, anytime you come to a new team, it's going to take a little bit of time just for you to get accustomed to the offense, accustomed to the timing of how things happen, the play calls, the terminologies. And then it's also like you said, he had a pretty long break off. So having him be able to get his legs underneath him and continue to work hard in practice, and that to kind of begin to manifest in games, you know, it's been really, really cool to see.
And Coach said early in the year, you guys struggle to create your own energy in these empty stadiums. I mean, you're going to play in an empty stadium Saturday night, but it's the playoffs. So I don't imagine that's a concern anymore, creating your own energy.
Yeah, I don't think it's a concern. You know, I think we're so used to it now. And like you said, it's the playoffs. You know, we've been working all season to get to this point, and now we're here. You know, we can't come out there and be flat. We got to come bring our own energy no matter what.
Thanks.
All right, we'll close out with Kevin O'Donnell.
Hey, Chris, back-to-back 40-plus game performances. The offense seems to be really clicking right now. What do you see has really maybe changed with you guys to kind of get you in the groove? I know B.A. was talking about that maybe at the beginning of the year, Tom, when you gave him a play, didn't picture it in his head, you know, had to really think about it. But now he thinks he's starting to picture the play as soon as it's called. Is that what's making this offense really kind of click right now?
I think that could be a part of it. You know, I think, like I said, it's very, very hard to learn a new offense, you know, especially with the limited offseason that we had this year. And so for a quarterback, you know, especially one that's, you know, so intention, like has such a high attention to detail as Tom, you know, there's a lot for them to know. And so, of course, like we're going to have our growing pains throughout the season. And that's what you all kind of saw. But I definitely think he's a lot more confident now. I think he's a lot more comfortable with understanding, you know, where we're all going to be, and the same vice versa. You know, we have a better understanding of where he wants us to be. So I think just kind of like that trial and error over the course of the season, you know, has really helped us. You know, we've had our growing pains, we've learned from them, and now we're much, much better for it. I think we're playing really good football right now. We just got to continue it. You know, it's going to take a real good week of practice this week to really finalize, you know, what we're going to need for this game. But, you know, I think I like where we stand.
All right, that's all for today. Thanks, Chris.
No problem. Y'all be safe.